Welcome to Biz Help for You with host Candy Messer. Entrepreneurs like to focus on the big picture, like profitability, success, and a smooth-running organization. But there always seems to be those little things like taxes, employee compensation, laws, regulations, and more. Now you can get the answers you need in one place. Join us today as we break it all down for you. Now, here's your host, Candy Messer.
Hello and welcome to Biz Help for You with Candy Messer. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my last interview, and if you missed the episode and would like to listen to the show, links can be found on my YouTube and Facebook pages, as well as multiple favorite podcast platforms. And if you'd like to receive notifications on when our podcasts have been uploaded, please like and subscribe. Now, let's learn a little bit about my guest today. Gabriela has years of professional experience in marketing, social media, and public relations. As an account executive, Gabriela uses her marketing skills and experience to help businesses grow. She's dedicated to building great brands and encouraging entrepreneurs to dream by helping them materialize their professional goals. So, Gabriela, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm glad to have you here, and I'm excited to have you as a guest. Of course, we had met in person years ago and had stayed in touch, and we were just chatting recently, and I thought this would be a great topic to really discuss because I think people don't consider having the use of any type of television or cable in their marketing bucket because they feel it's expensive. So I wanted to talk about that today. But before I get into any questions I have for you on the topic, I'd love for you to just tell a little bit about yourself. How did you get into marketing and doing what you're doing today?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I've been in business since 2004. And, as an entrepreneur, I had to learn myself how to promote my own business. And that's basically how I acquired most of the experience when it comes to social media and all the other venues where you could promote your business. And I realized that at least in the market that I'm on, it's very important to do localized advertising, just so you don't waste money on clients that are not your target audience, which, it helped me develop the marketing strategies that I use for my clients nowadays.
Perfect. Well, today, again, we want to talk about like cable and how that helps you grow your business and, what is the reach that has. So first of all, I would just love for you to talk about like, how does that even work? If someone is like, well, I would love to create a commercial to air on cable TV, like what do they even have to do to introduce themselves to the cable company, and come up with what they're going to present, all of that. How does that even work?
There are different ways to do it. I mean, you could obviously, go with a corporation and work with them directly, which is a little more expensive. And usually they're not local. We basically do the same thing. I think that nowadays for every single business, having a website is crucial. You must have a website. And I think that it's really important to have a video within your website and all your social media channels, just so people know offhand what it is that you offer. And I think it's very important for the business itself. And basically, we have a TV show through our local station, Torrance City Cable, and we create commercials for our clients that are aired both through the TV station and we also upload it to our YouTube channel. And we blast it on social media. So, we work with clients from all over the state, but what we do, it usually works better for people that provide services for local residents, meaning Torrance, because that's where the show airs. Again, we create commercials for people that are even in different states. That's not a problem. But as far as promoted in cable, yes, the best strategy for people that are in the South Bay, it's definitely to go local, just so we can capture the clients that are, potential people that are going to continue to come to your business.
So if somebody is thinking about doing this, and of course you're, like you said, in the local Torrance, South Bay, California area, and someone's listening and they're obviously in a different location and the local part of it doesn't work, how do they even approach maybe something in their own area to say, I'm interested in, having something on your local programming? Like, how would they go about following up and even getting in front of them?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cable television is a lot cheaper. And again, it's localized, meaning I don't know if you've seen commercials where at the bottom portion it says not available in California. And I'm thinking, why would they even waste money for this, commercial to air here if it's not available, in the state where they're advertising? And you see that a lot with big corporations and things like that. So cable television is designed for, smaller businesses, people that want to, advertise locally, meaning that you get to choose the areas in which you want to advertise. Most cable channels offer that service. I mean, they're a little bit expensive, and the best way for them to find out is who their local cable companies are. And they
Mhm.
always have a section for small business advertisement, and they could, contact them directly that way. And it's probably, I would say, at least 50% less to advertise than it'll be in just regular television.
Right. So obviously, if we're talking local to places like, restaurants or salons or things like that are great too, because those are physical locations in that area. But is it also good for people who have like services that maybe don't have as much of a physical presence that's obvious, or nowadays a lot of people have gone remote. Is that still something that's good for them? Or is this more for like brick and mortar locations that want to advertise in the local area?
Yeah, I think that it works for both. If anything, for people that don't have a storefront, for example, I have a notary office. People drive by, we have businesses next door, so they see me and they use my services just by looking at it. Or they drive by and then the next time they need a notary, they say, "Oh, I saw this, person right here on PCH." So if you don't have a storefront, you don't have that visibility. So I think it's even more important for those people that are provide virtual services to be out there.
That's a really good point too, because a lot of people do find locations because they're driving down the street and they see, maybe there's a new restaurant opening. And so, oh, I want to go try that out, or different things like that. Where if it is a service that is not as easily seen, this does help with visibility.
Yeah, most definitely. And again, I think that nowadays every single business needs both a website and a short video showing people
Mhm.
what it is that they do and why they will be a better choice compared to other businesses.
Right. So, how long in general are advertisements that they are going to be putting onto these programs? And then, how do they even know what program that it is going to air along with, so they know that, oh, my target market is actually going to be watching, the show that will see the ad that I want to have?
Yeah, that's very important. When you purchase advertisement through a local cable, they actually give you the demographics, meaning
Mm.
that you want to advertise, depending on what it is that you offer, you want to advertise to that age group. Like if you offer a service for adults, you don't want to advertise, during a show for teenagers. So that's why when you purchase cable television, they give you a sheet of the different shows,
Mm.
and then each show has the demographics as well as how many people watch it, what area they're on, and as well as their average income, household income.
Well, that was a thought I had was going to ask you as well too, is what about the demographics and how did they find like the right time to put their ad in? So that's helpful because then you have it by show. So is that broken down by like every half hour increment? Is it general? And again, I know this might be specific to you and other places might do it differently, but do you have those demographics by like every half hour slot or like a wider range of times, or how does that work?
It's actually per show, and some shows last an hour, other shows last 2 hours, some shows last 30 minutes, and they give you the breakdown of the shows that air, the timings, and then you also have a separate sheet for the demographics and the areas that they cover.
Mhm. And if someone wants to have an advertisement, is it like a minimum number that they purchase, or if it's I want to do, just five, or like how does that work if someone again wants to come and think about having advertising with you? What is their minimum requirement basically?
Yeah. We work with local businesses. So there are people that pay as little as $500, and there are others that pay $3,000 or more. With cable television, I mean, with regular cable companies that offer this service, you are required to buy a minimum. We do not require a minimum because we want to help people. And another thing is that because we know we can create results, we know they're going to want to come back. So we work
Mhm.
with every single budget. It doesn't matter how little your budget is. And again, if you hired a company that provides the services, they do require a minimum, meaning that you need to buy a specific number of advertisements slots. With us, that's not the case.
Okay. And what is the lead time? Like, so say if someone comes to you and they don't even have the video created and you're going to help them create a video to use for the advertisement, like what is the lead time from the time they start with the agreement with you until like a recording, editing, and putting it on air?
It takes about, from the time we record it to the time it's actually aired, it's about 30 days, depending if we're able to get all the footage in one day. Because
Mm,
as you may imagine, what takes the most is editing. So if we're
mhm.
able to capture everything in one day and then we can send it to the editing department and they take care of it right away, it takes less time. But we learned that sometimes, things don't work that way. We hope they
Right.
would. But sometimes, let's say that if we're going to interview somebody, the person that they were going to bring in is not available, or if they provide classes or different things, we just don't have everything that we need in order to create a good commercial. So we leave it
Mhm.
up to the client, but we tell them that we recommend to get more footage. And if we have to come back a second times for a second day of shooting, it could take a little bit longer than that.
Mhm. So, what type of content then do you want when you're shooting this? Is it you've got some people doing like action shots even to show like what they're advertising? Is it more someone just talking with you or answering questions? Like, what is the ideal type of information that they should have to record, put into an ad?
Well, every business is different because it also depends on the demographic is who's going to be going to. If you're reaching to a younger audience, obviously you want something, fun and spontaneous. If you're reaching, to an older audience, you just basically want to go, through the basics. And again, every business is different. So it will be based on
Mhm.
who their target audience is. And obviously, we do our homework. Like I go on Yelp, Google, and see all the reviews to find things that they might need to improve on even before we launch the campaign. And actually, we help a few clients remove negative reviews, not only because it hurts their business, but sometimes they're either incorrect, or it also helps
Mhm.
us get a better glimpse what the business is about. And the most important thing for us, or at least for me, is to find the niche, meaning that why would they choose you over another company that provides the exact same business? And I think
Mhm.
that's the most important part of the entire commercial.
Right. That is important. I mean, you have to figure out your ideal customer, who you want to target, and what information will appeal to them, right? So that
Exactly.
when they see your ad, they're interested and want to follow
Mhm.
up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, most definitely. I think the most important part is to show people why they should choose you or why they should hire you, rather than hiring a different company.
Mhm. So when we were talking to about the cost, and you said you don't have a minimum, but do you have, where there's like packages, or do other cable companies have like, well, here's if you buy one, or if there's packages, and if you have options, do they have to pay for everything up front? Or if they buy, let's say, a package of 5, do they pay before each airs? Like, how does that part work?
Yes. What we normally do is they do a down payment once we sign the contract. Obviously, we go over the contract first to make sure that they agree to everything. They choose the package. We do require, if they, again, our packages, there's some people that spend as little as $250, which is a commercial that
Mhm.
they already created, and all we do is air it. There's other people that pay $500, and same thing. It's a commercial that they already have, but we either need to make changes to it or add information to be able to include it on our advertisement. And if we need to record a show, it could be $3,000 or it could be a little bit less. Again, it would depend on what it is that they need. There's people that already
Mhm.
have content, meaning the videos that they recorded, and we could use that footage and edit it and put it all together. So it really depends on what it is that they need. But when we sign the contract, we do require 50%. And then once the commercial is completed, we will require the balance.
Okay, so basically it's paid in full at the time that it's finished recording, and then you air it for the number of slots basically that they have selected.
Exactly.
Okay, so when you record with them and you air it on your, cable channel, is that content, does that belong to you, or really is it theirs? It's their copyright. They could use it anywhere they want, and you just happen to be one of those outlets that they use.
Yeah, no, it belongs to us. We have all the rights to it.
So if someone wants to maintain the rights to their videos, they would create it themselves and then they would just purchase a slot from you and use it, but then they could use it in other areas.
Oh, yes. Whoever gets a commercial from us, they could use, as far as their commercial comes to the show that we air, the entire show belongs to us, meaning not the cable company, but it belongs to us. But for the people that create commercials, it's absolutely theirs. They could do whatever they want with all the rights to it.
Yeah, the show obviously makes sense. That would be yours. I was just wondering for like if you're helping them create their commercial that's going to go on that show, if they own the rights so they could share it like on their website or social media or things like, because people might be curious, you know, because I know there's so many different rules and regulations surrounding who owns the copyright, who could share it.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a good question.
So do you have tips that you would want to share if someone is thinking, I want to create, you know, a video to have it aired on a TV show, but they're not sure this is the first time maybe that they're even considering it. You know, what are some of the top tips that you would share with them to help them know like what they might want to say or what they want to even wear, like apparel wise, like, you know, just all the tips that they need to know to put together that video?
Yeah, most definitely. I think that, like we mentioned before, the most important thing is know who your target audience is and do a little research about it, you know, what's trending, and, you know, even see videos from corporations and companies that offer those same services and what it is that they're talking about and sharing. And I also think that it's very, very important to figure out if there's something about you that is different than the competition and why they should choose you over that. One thing I tell every single person or every small business owner, I always tell them, look at your reviews. I know that, you know, when it comes to Yelp and Google, some of them are really unfair, you know, and it's either competition or people that are, you know, just having a bad day and they either lie about it or you know, twist the truth to give a negative review just because, you know. I think that it's before you begin advertisement, again, some of them you can take off before you launch a marketing campaign. Because I think that once you do, the first thing people do, or I mean, most people do, is go into the reviews to see, you know, your rating and what people are saying about your business. So before you launch a marketing campaign, it's also important to mention that. And then when you have good reviews, you might see, you know, a person that said, oh my God, this lady was so nice to me. And, you know, she did this and she did that. And maybe you could use that feedback to understand what it is that makes you different than other businesses.
So I guess I was also wondering just like tips in terms of presentation for themselves, like when they're going to be recorded, because sometimes you hear like wear certain colors or have certain, you know, things that you are presenting in the video even. So like what are those types of tips maybe that will help them have a better video than a not so great video?
Yeah, most definitely. Well, if they have a restaurant, definitely you want to show the food rather than people. You know, if they have a, you know, a service, I think that nowadays we are so used to information being available to us automatically, so our attention span is pretty short. So you definitely want to keep it as short as possible and just get the word out there. In most cases, and again, it really depends on what type of service you provide. Some people, you know, want to be on their commercial, talk about their commercial. In my opinion, yeah, for example, like I was talking about, you know, if you sell food, you want to show your food. You know, you don't want to show the face of the owner of the restaurant. I think it's more important to show the product. So if you sell a product, I think it's more important to show the product that you're selling. If you provide a service, maybe just a screenshot of the list of the services that you provide along with the QR code that people can just scan. Like we did a commercial for Bruno from Still Got It Fitness, you know, and obviously in that case, it was more important to show the classes and the people interacting with the trainers, you know, just a visual of what it is that you offer and try to get the message across in the shortest period of time as possible.
So is a typical commercial like 20 seconds, 30 seconds? Like what are they, you know, a minute, you know, like it seems like 20 or 30 seconds might be short, but at the same time, that's probably a typical amount to get the information across.
Yes, the most typical one is 30 seconds. We have commercials that last longer just because there are people that offer several services and we want to include pictures of each service that they offer so people get a better idea, as well as showing the phone number. And nowadays the people are so used to QR codes, you know, a QR code on the screen that people just can't to retain the information after the commercial is gone.
So people might be thinking then, okay, if it's a 30-second commercial and I heard the lowest is 250 and some people pay, more than that, 500 up to a few thousand, to air a commercial a few times too. So that still sounds a little bit expensive maybe for someone who's a small business. So can you give them maybe like the concept, the return on investment that they may see versus, spending time on ads, like boosting posts on social media, what type of return they may expect?
Going back to your target audience, if you think that you could reach more people in social media, by all means do that. There are businesses that advertisement does not work. Restaurants, it's social, Facebook and all those are excellent for social media. For other services, it's like, hiring a stranger when it comes to Facebook. You might have a commercial, you might have advertisement, you might have posts, but people just glance through them because they don't know you personally or they don't know somebody that you know. So it's a little bit harder for them, to even pay attention to that advertisement, which is why social media doesn't work for all to advertise any type of business. And when it comes to a commercial, even Coca-Cola and huge corporations, you will say, why would they need a commercial? When you see it the first time, you might not have paid attention the first time, but then you see it a second time, then you see it a third time, by the fifth time, it is familiar to you, meaning that,
Right.
It's a new thing. So then the next time that you think of, they're looking for a CPA and they saw, 10 commercials about that company, they go like, oh my God. And then, they look for you rather than, just Google on TPA near
Right.
me. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I think that's the difference
Perfect.
between all the types of advertisement on a commercial that people see on TV.
So the whole point is not just looking at the total expense that you're going to have, but what is the return on your investment? And so track those numbers, right? If you're not already tracking what you're doing in your marketing and the results, start tracking it, right? To know how successful they are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important to figure out how much you're paying for advertisement and how much money you're getting back. And for any type of advertisement, whether do it through us, Yelp, Facebook, or any other type of advertisement, they won't know until they try it. It's just that things have changed so much, Yeah, I'm sure that you remember the penny saver, from that time to now, the way we reach people, the way we communicate, the way we look for things is very different in general. And, some
Right.
people are old school and, the yellow pages, it's, gone. I don't know if you ever advertised there. I used to advertise there and I used to get a lot of clients from there. Now it's just, I will not put my money in there because it's just a waste of money because nobody uses it. I don't know if you know this, but 411 was taken down because nobody uses it anymore.
Because you
Right.
could just do a search.
Exactly. Because since people don't use it, they figure, okay, so we're paying the salaries for all these people that are just sitting there and no phone calls are coming. And that shows you how much everything has changed. And everybody's different. Other people are more likely to tell, their teenage grandson, hey, can you look for this or can you look for that? Or, they already learn from their phone, which is how most people find a business. Just
Right.
put, CPA near me or notary near me. And, again, it really depends on your target audience and how you think people are going to be able to find you. And then once you figure that out, just give it a try. If you get your money back, yeah, by all means, keep doing it. And if not, you need to, look for other ways that will give you a return on your investment.
Right. Well, thank you, Gabriela, for being a guest and talking about this topic. I haven't ever had someone really talking about the local cable advertising, and I thought it would be a great discussion. So I appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Mhm. And to the listener, thank you for tuning in. I hope you found this discussion interesting and that it answered some questions on how local cable advertising can expand your reach on a budget. Of course, the location that we were talking about, where she is in California. So if you're in a different location, check with your local cable company to see what might be available for you. And I do want to offer Gabby to have an offer for our listeners. So how can they connect with you and what offer may you have for them?
Yes, absolutely. The easiest way to get a hold of me is via text. I always recommend text, and that way it's easier for us to communicate even after business hours. They can call or text 310-801-9462. I'll repeat it again just in case. It's 801-9462. We usually charge $750 to put together the marketing campaign, meaning that we develop the script for the commercial. And, like I mentioned, I'll do all my homework as far as checking out reviews and trying to figure out how the business is different than the competition. We normally charge $750 for that. But if they come to us through your show, we will give them that service for absolutely free.
Perfect. And they don't obviously have to be local. They can be anywhere, and you will be able to help them with that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Perfect. So if you are listening, you are interested in the offer that she has to help you with the marketing campaign or script, reach out to her at the text number that she gave. We also will have information in the show notes. You can find details there as well. And you can also send us a message at media@abandp.com. I hope you can join me for my next interview. And remember, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and my website is abandp.com. Remember, you can also find my podcast, Biz Help for You, on several favorite podcast platforms, including iTunes, Google, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And would you please share my show with those you know and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform? I'd really appreciate your support. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.